That's right. The Acolyte trailer is here. And wow, I just have to say that this looks like it could be an incredible show. I'm not going to say it is an incredible show because I haven't seen it yet, and neither have you. So let's hold our judgments for at least the first 2 to 3 episodes, and then after that, it's free game. And for those of you who don't know, there is a reason why we don't see any Skywalkers, no Darth Vader, no Death Star, no Star Destroyers, any of that stuff. We're seeing a whole new set of Jedi because this is approximately 100 years before the Phantom Menace. I just wanted to clear that up for those of you who didn't know. And before I get into it, let's hear a word from our channel sponsor. That's me. I'm the channel sponsor because I pay for the crap around here. So, haha, I can be the sponsor. Hit the subscribe button, like the video, share it with some friends, some enemies, who knows, some Lord of the Rings fans or Game of Thrones fans, whatever. Just share it. Love it. And leave a comment. Why? Because it's freaking Star Wars, baby, and you know you love Star Wars. You know you do, or you wouldn't be here. All right, let's get on with it. And first, I want to talk about expectations of this show, and I will get into why you should be excited for this show, and it's much deeper than looking at lightsabers or blasters or droids or any of that. It's much deeper than that, and I will get into it. But first, the expectations. I'm going into this with none. No expectations at all. Now, there are some things that I think we might see, and those are just potentials, and I will call them potentials. I'm not getting my hopes up for it, but it has that potential. I keep saying that word. So, no expectations whatsoever other than what we've seen in the trailer. And there's no context to that, so we don't know exactly what that stuff is about. We don't know what the conversations entail, what the context is of those conversations. We just know they say them. So, those are the only expectations I have. So let's get into why you should be excited for The Acolyte. And why I'm excited for it, and this again is just another potential that the story could go toward, and I do see that a lot in the trailer. Now, one of the quotes that really rang true to me and really drove this thought into my head was the one spoken by the lady. I don't know her name because I didn't pay attention to her name. I'm just going to call her the lady. But she said, "This isn't about light and dark. This is about power and who gets to wield it." Now, in my last Bad Batch video, I talked about how we may be on the wrong side of things. We followed the Jedi throughout the prequels, and then we're following them throughout the original trilogy, and then we're following them throughout the sequel trilogy, the evil sequel trilogy. But we're following the Jedi, and we're on their side, and we're rooting for them. But this line makes things seem a little bit different. And what follows, I'm not going to say that evil doesn't exist in the Empire or the dark side or anything like that, because it does. Palpatine existed. He was evil. Plagueis existed. He was probably evil. From the book, he was evil, but yeah. Sith are more known to be evil. Bad guys. There was one Sith who wasn't really evil. He was actually a good dude. But this series, The Acolyte, I think is going to explore that notion a little bit more, that maybe we aren't seeing good versus evil, that there is a blurry line between them. And I know that's going to upset some of my fellow Star Wars nerds out there, but that's okay. It's not meant to upset you. Just let me get through this, and then you can rake me over the coals if you want to. Now, we all know that the arrogance of the Jedi was part of their downfall, but it goes much deeper than that. They thought they were the light of the galaxy, the protectors of peace, and all that stuff, but it goes much deeper than that. And I think The Acolyte is going to explore that idea that the Jedi were so selfish with the Force, they didn't believe anybody else should wield it because they would be in dangerous hands, the Force would be used in the wrong way, and all that good, crazy stuff. Now, with them being the protectors of peace and justice and all that stuff, then what they've done is they've created chaos by being the only ones to use the Force for good or bad or whatever. They have created that chaos by excluding those in the galaxy who are highly Force sensitive but did not get included into the Jedi Order and are not getting formal training. They're going to get ticked off. These people are going to be upset. Why am I not allowed to use the Force, but these guys are? So what are they going to do? They're going to form these thoughts that maybe the Jedi are not the good guys. And who's to say that the ones being ostracized are not the good guys as well? There could be multiple good guys. Multiple good guys opposing each other in a conflict. Doesn't mean that one's trying to rise up and be the dark side, which, yes, I'm sure there are Darksiders, and it looks like there are a couple of them in this trailer. But I don't think we've seen the big bad. It's just my thought. I don't think this May character is the big bad of the series. I think, yes, she has some conflict with the Jedi after being left out of the Padawan or whatever, the Jedi Order, that kind of stuff, being thrown out of it or leaving it on her own. Not understanding her ideas, but I don't think she's the big bad. I think she's one of those who is force sensitive, who doesn't agree with the Jedi and their arrogance and their selfishness with the Force. I go back to that quote. This isn't about light and dark. This is about power and who gets to wield it. It doesn't mean that they're evil. It just means that it's unfair that the Jedi are that selfish that they're the only ones to wield the Force. And by taking that away from the rest of the galaxy, what you've done is you've made yourself an elitist. And by being an elitist, you're saying, okay, I can drive this SUV, but you cannot because it puts off too much carbon emission. But I'm good to do it because there's only a few of me. You're not good to do it because there's a lot of you. So I guess that's kind of the meaning of elitist. But the Jedi have become elitists with the Force, and they're not allowing others to do it because they don't accept some into their Jedi Order, because they're not sensitive enough, or they display a little certain aggression or anger or hate or fear or anything. So they won't let them into the Order. This creates more aggression, anger, and fear within those beings who are not included. And this is something that the Star Wars universe and the stories have not told us in detail about the ones that were left out, about the ones who were shunned because they weren't good enough to be a Jedi. But I think the Acolyte, and like I said in the beginning, this is just potential. It could happen, it may not happen. I'm not going in with the expectation that it will, but this, if it happens, will get me so excited for this series. Why? Because it's time we see why the Jedi Order cracked and failed, and this is one reason why that happened. And this is even 100 years before the Phantom Menace, so the cracks are starting to form. And if you've read any of the High Republic novels, then you'll see those cracks forming within even 250 years before the Phantom Menace. Now, I'm not going to say that the Acolyte's going to be the greatest Star Wars story ever told. It may not be. I don't know. All I've seen is the trailer. But from the trailer, it looks good, sounds good. The music is amazing. Just listen to it again. Go watch it and listen to it. I'm not going to play the music on here because I don't want a copyright strike, and those are stupid. And what am I also excited about? Well, let's just say a Wookiee Jedi. Holy crap. Who isn't excited about that? We haven't seen one of those since Grungy. In the Clone Wars and in the Bad Batch. So, yes, I'm really excited for this show, but I will reserve all judgments for it after I've seen the entire series and see how the story plays out. And I hope you all do the same. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like the video, share it with some friends, some enemies, a droid, a dog, your cats, whatever. Just share the video and like it. Until the next time, this is Gerald, a Star Wars fanatic, talking about the Acolyte and signing off. Thank you all for watching, and remember, this is the way. And positivity in Star Wars can be the only way.